What we're going to be addressing today, what I'm going to be addressing, I'm going to focus on Overwatch for this because it is very apparent. It is very blatant. It is right in your face, and a lot of, but they do it very subtly. They do it very. They're smooth with it. They're smooth with. They're very strategic with their character creation, and they're very tactical about what they the characters they create. Now let's get into this real quick. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over each character, and I'm gonna give you my take on that character from a basic level, a basic standpoint level. Um, and the reason is, I think this needs to be. It is something that, it's the easiest way to try and simplify what I'm trying to say to you, what I'm trying to bring up here. Now, I'm not. I like I said, I've had a hard time bringing this up for years because the plain out simple fact is, you know, it's a hard subject to broach and address in a forum. Bringing this up in forums brings out every troll that can possibly want to be out there. We know in the forums that they have forum snipers. Blizzard has forum snipers to get rid of anything that you don't want. They don't want you to hear in, somebody to try and disprove everything you say. I don't care about those people. Get a life. Stop trying to stand up for people, for a company that's pulling off all this BS. So stop trying to be like them. I know you're getting paid, but whatever. But here we go. So we're going to start out with Ana. Ana is an Egyptian healer sniper. Nice. We have the Egyptian healer sniper in Ana. Very creative character, very cool character. I like Ana. Right? She is Egyptian. Good. We have Baptiste, the Haitian mercenary medic. Okay. We have the Omnic robot who got lost and confused, and now he's doing whatever. Who knows? We have the Swedish engineer gladiator healer. Swedish engineer gladiator healer. We have the Korean mech pilot. I really like Diva. We have the African warlord. Right? We have the African warlord. Villain. We have the robot, the AI robot created by a brilliant Chinese female scientist. We have the Japanese cyborg ninja. That's all that needs to be said. Japanese cyborg ninja. We have the Japanese archer. The criminal Yakuza Japanese archer. We have the Aussie criminal suicide. We have the Aussie criminal suicide bomber with a massive bounty on his head. We have the Brazilian DJ medic. The Brazilian entertainment DJ medic. We have the Chinese scientist. the amazing Chinese scientist. She's absolutely brilliant. We have the German medic. We have the German doctor. We have the Irish mad scientist. Irish mad scientist. We have the Egyptian pilot. The Egyptian jetpack pilot. Soldier. Amazing. Yeah. I like that. And she is the daughter of our very first character, the Egyptian sniper medic. We have the LA-born ex-soldier Mexican Sicario. Mexican psychotic serial killer Sicario. Right? We got the German tank. The German gladiator tank with a rocket pack on his back. We have the psychotic, serial killing, criminal Aussie lunatic. Okay? We have the Norwegian, brilliant scientist, mad scientist that went, Norwegian mad scientist that discovered something amazing, went insane. We have the absolutely amazing Mexican female super hacker. This girl can get into anything. Amazing. I like her. Brilliant thought process. We have the East Indian architect that wants to bring chaos, wants to bring order over chaos. But she is amazing at what she does. Great character. We have the Swedish engineer, who through lore standards is a big reason the war came to an end, who just happens to be the father of the other Swedish engineer. Whoops. We have the British female test pilot hero, who just happens to be gay. So that is amazing. We have gay representation in this game. A female British fighter pilot, test pilot, and someone who's fighting for the right things. That's good. We have the blue French assassin. That's all you got to really say. The blue French sniper assassin, who in herself, I really love Widowmaker. I think she's a great character. We have the powerlifting. We have the powerlifting Russian who is very loyal to her country and fights for her country. She does everything she can to. She loves her country. She will fight for her country for everything. The Russian powerlifter. Right? Now, let's address what we have not seen. We have not seen a single representation of an American black person in this entire cadre of characters. Not one. Not a male, not a female. And we have not seen the representation of a single black woman, African black woman, or American black woman, in this entire, in any of it. We have also not seen the representation of any Native American person whatsoever in this entire lineup. Yet, but we do have the American white soldier. Right? The American white cowboy. right? And the American white cowgirl. Yet there's absolutely no representation of a black woman in any of Overwatch, of an American black person in general, and no representations of black women, no representations of Native American women, no representations of Native American men, no representations whatsoever of American black men. The closest thing we have to a representation of an American black man is a Haitian dude wearing some 70s clothes with an afro. Right? Well, people will say, but there is representation of color. This is true. There is representation of color. But when you have a fat Aussie serial killer that is racially appropriating this, you tell me what project and what hood he from. You please tell me that. Yet there is not a single American black person that represents American black culture whatsoever in any of Overwatch. Right? Well, people say, well, they're going to. In Overwatch 2, there's going to be a new character. Yes, there's going to be a new character in Overwatch 2. And her name is Sojourn. This is Sojourn. The first representation of a black woman in all of Overwatch, and she will not be represented until Overwatch 2. And with the lawsuits and everything going on now, she may never be represented if they do not release Overwatch 2. And she, Sojourn, is not an American black woman. Sojourn is Canadian. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there are no black people in Canada. But when's the last time you met one? That's a good question, isn't it? There are no representations of American black people anywhere in here, and the only representation of a black woman that we get is Arissa. This is the closest thing we have to a representation of of a black woman, not American black, but a black woman, period. Because this character, Arissa, is a rebuilt robot. A robot rebuilt from the parts of destroyed African Defender robots. And she was rebuilt by a 12-year-old African girl named Ify that we never see. She's not in the game. The only time you see Ify is when she's on a poster. Tell me why we have not seen Ify. Right? We got a Korean girl that can hop out of her mech and fight as she is, as Baby Diva. Right? And with no representation of an African American woman or a black woman in general, and no representation of an African American man, a black American man, and no representation of the Native American people whatsoever, we still do have a psychotic robot, an AI robot, an African robot, right? And we have a genetically modified monkey who is now a scientist. He's not a monkey, he's a scientist. Right? And we have a genetically altered rodent. This is an oversized hamster in a ball. Yet we have no representation whatsoever of an American black person or a Native American black person. And the only representation of a black woman in general is made up from excess parts from destroyed African robots. that we never see. A young lady we never see. And the only representation that we will have of her, of an African woman or of a black woman in general, is in a character that is not even in the game yet and may not ever get released because of this lawsuit. And she is not even American. She's not an American black woman. She's from Canada. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with being from Canada. I am glad Canada finally has some representation. I am glad that we actually have a black woman being represented. But where is American representation? Where is black American representation? We have the American white soldier. We have the American black cowboy. We have the American black cowgirl. American blacks have fought in every American war in history. They have never been shown the dignity, respect, or honor that they deserve. Overwatch has made sure there is no representations of American blacks anywhere in this game. People don't realize there were over 8,000 black cowboys. Black cowboys helped settle the American West just as much as white cowboys did. More. American people don't realize there are American black cowgirls. Yet we have this is what's representing America. As if this is all America was. We have a Japanese archer. Now, here's my problem. This is my problem with Hanzo, other than just whatever. I have a lot of problems with Hanzo, but that's not the point. My point is, Hanzo doesn't even use Japanese archery. He uses Native American archery. He uses Native American archery techniques. Because Japanese archery is called Kyudo, and it's done a lot differently. It is very different from from Native American archery. So why is he using American archery, Native American archery, instead of Kyudo? This is Kyudo. Oops. Oh. Okay. This is Japanese Kyudo. This is Japanese archery. Okay? That is Japanese archery. That is Japanese archery, right? Here's another good look at Japanese archery when we get past this commercial. This is Japanese archery. This is called Kyudo. This is how the Japanese fire. This is how they use archery. Right? Now, this is a far cry away from what Hanzo does. Very, very far cry away from what Hanzo does. Very, very slow. Very, very, you know. Now, mind you, this is not combat archery. But think about this. Thank you, archery. Now, let me show you what that combat would look like. Just a quick clip. Just a quick clip. This isn't gonna look right. This isn't gonna come out right. So let's look at another one. But their archery techniques are very, very different from ours. Their techniques are completely different from what we know. Right? Now here, let's take a look at how this archery is done. It's fast, it's straightforward, and it's nowhere near sideways shot. It's none of that. Yet this is how Hanzo shoots. Hanzo shoots sideways. He shoots sideways, he shoots up. Japanese archery isn't that way. So why are you misrepresenting how Japanese archery actually works? Why are you using other cultures' techniques for Japanese archery? Right? Why is this not being represented correctly? Why are you blending people's cultures together? Yet you're not even representing the people that you're trying to blend together. You're trying to use Native American archery with Japanese culture, and you're not even representing Native American people. There's an issue with that. There's a problem there, right? And don't get me wrong, like I said, I take nothing from the game. I think the game is an amazing game and the functionality is correct. But the indiscretions of discrimination and cultural appropriation to get the desired effect that they need is disgusting to me. It's wrong on every level. Why is a fat serial killer trying to act like he's from the hood? You know what I'm saying? Why is this fat serial killer trying to act like he's from the hood? Now, don't get me wrong. I want to know why he's doing a Cabbage Patch. Where'd that come from? You know that came from where it came from. Black American culture. We created the Cabbage Patch. Why is a fat Aussie serial killer doing a Cabbage Patch? Now, mind you, he headbangs. I'm good with that. He headbangs, but that's who he is. That's more a part of his culture than, oh, look. Right? Okay. Now, that being said, the misrepresentation of certain things needs to stop. Underrepresentation. Let's talk about the cherry picking aspect of Blizzard's character creation. You see, what Blizzard decided to do was say, we're going to have a diverse group of characters, but we will not represent any American blacks whatsoever in this game. And if we do add in a black person, they will not be American. That's where the cherry picking comes in. Yes, we have an Egyptian woman. We have 2 Egyptian women, right? A mother and a daughter. We have a Haitian medic who happens to be a mercenary, so he'll work for the highest bidder. We have a Brazilian, an Afro-Brazilian DJ healer, medic. He's an entertainer. He's basically their version of Jay-Z, right? We have the African warlord. Right? We have the African warlord. Why is he an African warlord? The African warlord villain. We have, get this. Check this out. Now, bear with me. Let's see. What's a good, let me see. There we go. Now, If you didn't know any better, you would think Reyes is a black dude, right? I thought Reyes was going to be a black dude. I thought Reyes was definitely going to be a black dude when this game first came out. Then I found out he's a Mexican dude, born in L.A. Became a war hero and then turned into a psycho, and now he's basically a Mexican Sicario. But there is Mexican representation, right? Sombra came out. I thought she might be a black chick. Nope, Mexican hacker. Okay, I'm good with that. More Mexican representation, more female representation. I'm good with that. I knew she was East Indian the minute they brought her out. That was all good. East Indian female representation, I'm down with it. I am down with the representation of men and women. The representation of a gay woman in a video game is amazing. I'm very happy about that. But the complete denial and avoidance, the pure flat out avoidance of the representation of American blacks in this game, the pure avoidance of Native Americans in this game, the pure, there are black men in this game, the absolute avoidance and the pure the blatant attempts to erase black women from any of this and from this entire game it's not just hurtful, it is disgusting, and it is it's scary, because what you got to understand is, in the culture in which we live in now, and in the societal awakening that we are having now, for you not to have a black woman represented in this, an American black woman, an American black man represented in this, and the closest thing you're gonna get to an American black woman is a black woman from Canada. Why? Just because she's across the border, right up the way? No, that is highly disturbing, and that is blatant cherry picking of who you want represented in your game. This is a flat out blatant attack on the American black culture from Blizzard Entertainment. And they have been doing this for years, because up until a few years ago, you weren't going to find any black NPCs in World of Warcraft. The closest thing you found to a black NPC or a black character in World of Warcraft is something that you designed and made your character as dark as you could possibly get it. Or they were orcs, trolls, or minotaurs. Minotaurs were Native American, trolls were Jamaicans, and orcs were supposed to be black people. That's how that rolled. That's exactly how that rolled. And everybody knew it. But nobody said anything. I never had a platform to really say anything about it. And on top of that, after this, my Blizzard account might be banned for all I know. Blizzard sees this, oh, they may just ban my account, period. I might get a cease and desist or all kinds of shit. But here's the plain out simple fact. This needs to be addressed. This needs to be talked about, because this is blatant cherry picking to prevent having anyone have any black American presence whatsoever. We got a white soldier, we got a white cowboy, we got a white cowgirl, but we have absolutely no other American representation other than Reaper, who was born in the States. But he's a Mexican dude, and there's no black representation, no Native American representation through this entire thing. Yet a Japanese dude fires a bow and acts like a Native American archer. Maybe that's just me. People are going to say, oh man, you shouldn't have brought that up. Oh man, that was wrong. You can kiss my ass. That's what you can do. You got a problem with what I'm saying right now? That's on you. You got to work that out for yourself. And if you don't see what I'm saying in here, you really need to look at yourself deep, because this is a horrible thing to look at. This is a horrible. This can't go unaddressed. This has been going on for years, and what you got to understand is the sexual harassment and the discrimination inside of Blizzard Activision. This is not a surface thing. This is not just a couple of issues. In the society we live in, your company has to be broken at the core, at its very base and foundations, for you to have tried to pull this off in the game and in your games. Because what they figured was, now this was the mindset. I'm telling you, I know this is what the mindset was behind how they made their international cast of characters. We're going to have black representation in a Brazilian dude. We're going to have black representation in a Haitian guy. We'll have black representation in an African warlord. Let's look at the images of these people. A black entertainer, a black mercenary who will work for anybody who pays him, and an African warlord who wishes to take over the world. Any other black representation in here? This one is a sniper, but she's also Egyptian. Egyptian pilot. I'm saying Afro. They have Afro heritage as well, but she's a sniper. Worked for the right side, but disappeared and happened to abandon her daughter. A daughter growing up wanting to make her mother proud by going and doing the exact same thing her mother was doing. A Mexican dude born in LA who just, for some reason happens to look like a black dude if you look at him. Don't look Latino to me. Does it to you? I know some dark-skinned Latino dudes. Don't get me wrong. Hell, he could be Puerto Rican. But I don't remember seeing the last time I seen a Mexican dude that dark. I have once or twice, but a few in between. But if you're not paying attention, he could look black. He could be black. You can name his ass Jerome. You know what I mean? The representation was cherry-picked. And it was done so because of the discrimination and systemic racism that runs through Blizzard Activision Blizzard, whatever. It bleeds out into your creation. It bleeds out into your product. The only representation of a black woman that we have is going to be Sojourn, and she's from Canada, but nothing wrong with being from Canada, but she's the only representation of a black woman we have, and she's not even in this game. She's going to be in the next game, and if shit goes wrong for Blizzard, she's never going to be a part of the game, because Overwatch 2 will probably may get scrapped, depending on what's going on. We don't know. The only representation we have of a black woman in Blizzard, in Overwatch right now, right there, created by a 12-year-old girl that is not in the game. Disconnected me. I'm still here. We're gonna switch over to this while I pull up my game again. That seemed kind of funny to you, didn't it? Seemed kind of funny to me. This is the only representation that we have of a black woman in Overwatch. And she's not even in the game yet. This is Sojourn. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very, very happy that we are going to have representation of a black woman. Period. Anywhere in the game. But I'm still very pissed off at the fact that we have no representation of an American black person in this game, of a Native American person in this game. All of this, you know, this stems from a fundamental brokenness inside your company. They have cherry-picked who they want to represent. You have all the white people in the world you want to represent for in America in this game. Soldiers and cowboys and cowgirls. But you don't have a single American black person in this game. You've got a damn hamster. You got a genetically engineered hamster from space. But you can't put an American black person in this game. You got a genetically engineered gorilla scientist, but you don't have an American black person or a Native American person in this game, and you have absolutely no representations of a black woman at all in this game. This is something I think needs to be brought up. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to kick Blizzard when they down, but over the years I've wanted to address this for a long time, and this is the first time I feel like I had the chance to do that. What Blizzard has done, like I said, it is called racial cherry picking. It's racial cherry picking, and they culturally appropriate whatever they need, whatever they want, to try and mash into the game. This you want to talk about add injury to insult? This is an omnic robot who is representing a Tibetan monk. I'm sorry, I'm kind of wow. You can't just put in a Tibetan person. Just saying. Tibetan people are rather dark as well, so interesting. We've got Egyptians, we've got cowgirls and cowboys and white soldiers. We got, you know, Haitians. We got robots. We got Swedish. We got Korean. We got African. We got a Chinese robot. We got a Japanese cyborg ninja. We got a Japanese archer using Native American techniques. We got an Aussie serial killing. We got an Aussie suicide bomber with a $65 million bounty on his head. We got a Brazilian entertainer. We got a white cowboy. We got a Chinese scientist. We got a German doctor. We got an Irish mad scientist. We got an African defending robot. We have an Egyptian jetpack pilot. We got a Mexican Sicario. We got a German gladiator with a rocket pack on his back. We got an Aussie serial killer who thinks he's from the hood. We got a Norwegian mad scientist from space. We got a psychotic. We've got a vengeful American white soldier. We've got an extremely devious Mexican hacker. She takes over countries, man. We've got an East Indian architect who wants to rule the world through order and get rid of chaos. You know. We've got a Swedish engineer here, father and daughter here. We've got a female lesbian test pilot who is the only gay representation in the whole thing. I will say, which that can change as well. But we have, you know, At least there's gay representation. We have female fighter pilots, you know. Thank you. We have a blue French sniper who murdered her husband. You know, whatever. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just, like I said, an engineered monkey from space, an engineered rodent from space, a powerlifting Russian, very loyal to her country, and a robot Tibetan monk. Yet there is not one representation of an American black person or an American black woman or a black woman in all of Overwatch. And no Native American representation whatsoever. But the cultures have been appropriated into these characters. Now I could get into the dances and all that stuff. I'm not going to do all that. We're not going to go down that road. Because that's been appropriated as well. The only representation of an of a black woman, not an American black woman, but of a black woman in general in all of this is Sojourn, and she's not even in the game. She's not even in the game. So, what is all this meant? What is all this, why did I have to bring all this up? Because I felt I needed to. Because if we don't say something about it and do something about it, it's never going to change. If you're not willing to stand up and say something about it, and take the backlash and criticism and hatred and all the social media crap that you're going to catch for it, then it's never going to change. I'll take it. Say whatever the fuck you want about me. I don't care. What I'm saying, you can't deny. Because I just pointed it all out to you. Tell me I'm wrong. Blizzard wants no representations of American black people or Native Americans in Overwatch at all. None. They are doing everything they can to avoid putting American blacks anywhere in their game. And that stems from a fundamental basis, a fundamental broken, structurally broken, systematic racism that runs through Blizzard Activision, through Activision Blizzard. Couple that with the practices of discrimination in hiring and the sexual harassment going on in that company right now. What you create inside of your foundation will bleed out into the products that you create. And their racism has bled out. Their racism and prejudices have bled out into their game. Now, I can only speak for Overwatch, for what I've seen in Overwatch. I can only speak for what I've seen, from what I've noticed in the conversations I've had with other Black American Overwatch players. This is what we have seen. This is what we have discussed. This is the situation that has been going on, and just because you make this an international cadre of players, of characters, I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate the international feel of it. What I don't appreciate is the cherry picking and the blatant avoidance of anything that has to do with American black people being involved, being in this, like we don't exist in this world. Like American blacks do not exist in the Overwatch world. Canadian blacks do. Haitians do. Africans do. Brazilians do. American white soldiers do. American white cowboys do. American white cowgirls do. But apparently there are no American black people left in the world, in any of this world. You want to answer that question of why that is? Thank you, though, for attempting to bring an American black woman into the game, seeing how there are none. There is absolutely no representation of black women anywhere. Thank you for the attempt. There is no representation of black women anywhere in this game, except for a robot created by a 12-year-old African girl that we never see. She's only on posters. So, you know, I'm not trying to, I don't want to harp. I don't want to harp and start going over the same things over and over. But I felt this needed to be said. And if it offended anyone, you need to take a close look at yourself. And that's on you. That's something you need to work out for yourself. I'll be back.